Hey, it's been a while since I last did anything. God. So, I was diagnosed with ADHD in February after just over an hour's worth of actual assessment. And it was horribly triggering. When I say triggering, I mean I was shaking, I was sweating, I was, fighting back tears the whole time. And the woman doing the assessing, she just seemed to just want to plow through a load of tick boxes. She was asking really, really awful questions about, things that I might have struggled with as a child. And there were a lot of struggles as a child, a lot. And so dragging up those memories and how alone and isolated I found life back then, with, just feeling a bit like, why am I so sensitive? And it was horrible, and it mentally floored me for a long time. And I go from acceptance to denial, back and forth. So sometimes I'll be like, yeah, especially if I do something which could be construed as an ADHD, trait. I won't say symptom, trait. So, for example, I decided 5 minutes before I went, I wanted to go to town. Now, because I struggle going out anywhere on my own, I decided to text my friend and say, hey, do you fancy going to town? Go charity shops. We'll go mooch around charity shops. Do you fancy it? And she texted me back. She said, yeah, sure. When do you want to go? And I was like, now, 5 minutes. And she's like, what? So I had to wait outside her house for 20 minutes while she quickly got herself, ready, presentable to go out with me. And she's like, why don't you give me any notice? So I said, right, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, so this is how it works. In my entire life, for my entire life, I decide to do something about 5 minutes before I do it. I would decide, oh God, I really want to go on that camp or that holiday or to that club night. And I'll decide 5 minutes before that I want to go. But the tickets are available now to go in 3 weeks or 3 months or next year. And I decide I want to go now. And so it's very confusing for me, because then 3 months will go by and I might not want to go anymore. So I go through a lot of stress and confusion and anxiety, like sweating and shaking and staying up at night because I can't cope with the time differences. And I just thought I was told that was like a PTSD thing. I did childminder training, safeguarding training many years ago, and they said a really common way to tell if a child is being abused is that they can't see the future. They are time blind. They cannot see the future. So if you say, oh, we're going to go to visit the seaside next week, they'll put the coat on and stand at the door. And that was like a huge epiphany for me when I was little, because that made so much sense. I'm like, God, that's me. And I was abused by my stepdad when I was a child, so it all fit. Except there's a lot of overlap with PTSD, a hell of a lot of overlap. So I'm trying to still pick things apart, like what's PTSD, what's complex PTSD due to having a very neglectful and abusive childhood. As I can only remember a little time before my stepdad being on the scene. So it's basically made up my entire life, really. It's set down my traits and personality and quirks and coping mechanisms from a very early age. So I had this assessment and it was horribly triggering, and I really couldn't cope afterwards. So I've been trying to place an ADHD filter over things. My autism assessment should have been last month, but when I contacted my GP and said, hey, can you tell me what's going on with my waiting list thing, because I've not heard anything. Oh, we didn't actually send your referral off. So I'm on the NHS waiting list, which is 2 years, but I've also got, I asked for a referral to a company called Axia, which is on the Right to Choose pathway, and they only have a 5-month waiting list. So that assessment, that referral got sent off a week and a half ago, so I've got a 5-month wait now for that, hopefully, unless it's changed and it's gotten longer. I haven't actually heard from them yet to confirm I'm on their list. Anyway, I'm ADHD, but the ADHD assessor said, are you on a waiting list for autism? Yes, I am. Oh, good, because I strongly recommend that you get assessed for that. I can't diagnose you with autism, but it's glaring to me. Oh, thanks very much. Okay. So I'm trying to see life through an ADHD/autism lens now. So instead of applying a PTSD filter to things, which is what I've done for a long, long time, I was diagnosed about 14 years ago with PTSD and CPTSD a few years later. Now everything's different. So time blindness is future blindness for me. So, and also doing things now, not next week, is a huge thing for me. So I joined the gym, which is where I am now. I've got to go in a minute because I've got a yoga class. If I try to get into a routine with something, like I have to pre-book my yoga classes a week in advance. So I try to, because I'm desperately trying to get my pre-pregnancy fitness back. Being an older woman, having a baby has really sucked the constitution out of me, especially because I'm still breastfeeding at 17 months as well. So I need to get some energy, constitution, bone fitness back. I book Body Combat on a Monday and Friday, and yoga on Tuesday and Thursday. And for about 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks, I stuck to that. And then Easter happened. And so the gym was closed on a Monday and Friday, and it absolutely floored me. It sent me into a complete overwhelm, what are the words to describe it? It sent me into everything just got thrown in the air. And I couldn't pull it back down again and hold on to those days anymore. And so since Easter, we're now, 21st of April or something like that. I'm only just back at the gym to do that. And I've missed 2 classes, which I get charged for missing them. And I've said to the gym, please can I have a reasonable adjustment because I've got ADHD. They've done that once, they've not applied it to my account, so I have to beg them every single time, which is just horrible. It's so humiliating. I don't mean to miss them, it's just I'm thrown out of whack. So it's like I can get into a routine if it's like at the bottom of a mental mountain to do something on a regular basis, but then if something throws me off, it's gone, it's completely gone, and then I feel like a failure. And this is why I struggle to do anything on a regular basis. So I'm just trying to look through everything with a lens of ADHD to pick apart, right, that's my neurodiversity. So I have to be kinder to myself and maybe ask for some reasonable adjustments. So I'm going to go into my class now. Hopefully I'm not late. And I just wanted to let you know where I'm up to. So lots of love to everyone, older women out there that are struggling. Don't forget, you can ask your GP to do a Right to Choose pathway. I'm using Axia for autism and ADHD 360. ADHD 360 at this moment in time have about a 5-week waiting list, and Axia about a 5-month. Might change over time, but that's where I was as of late 2023. So you have to ask for it because they won't just give it to you. Okay, lots of love. Bye bye.